We're coming in with our instant reaction after Alabama beats Wisconsin 38-14. Started off really fast in the first half. The second half kind of was a little bit slow, but just overall, I thought the offense played really well. I thought the defense played really well. And Ty Simpson coming away with another big game here for the Crimson Tide. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. Got a bye week next week, but we'll be back for that Georgia game for our live watch party. We'll also give away an Alabama jersey after that Georgia game as well. So make sure you guys get down there, hit that sub button for me, and stay up to date on all things Crimson Tide news. All right, let's start off here with some injury news here. LT Overton ended up leaving the game technically at the end of the third quarter, but he went back to the locker room at the beginning of that fourth quarter. Kalen DeBoer was not asked at all about any injury news from this game, so we don't really know what happened to LT Overton, but he did get banged up in this game today. We'll continue to monitor LT Overton throughout the week and see maybe on Monday if Kalen DeBoer gets asked about LT Overton and exactly why he left with that injury. Let's start off here with some takeaways from this game. LT Overton was our guy over there on our logo for this game today. Alabama was finally able to get some sacks in this ball game today. Now, I will say, they got 4 sacks in the second half, weren't really able to get a ton of sacks in the second half of this game today, but they did have 4 sacks in the first half. LT Overton had 1. Jan Zapier had 1. Quade Russaw had 1. And then the true freshman, London Simmons, also had a sack in this game. That was a really big question mark coming into this ball game today. Was Alabama going to be able to not just get pressure on the quarterback, but also turn some of those pressures into sacks? They were able to do that in the first half of today's game. Second half, like I said, didn't necessarily get a ton of, didn't get any sacks in the second half of today's game. But, look, it's better than what it has been. In the first 2 games, Alabama had, 22 pressures or something like that, had only 1 sack, end up getting 4 sacks in this game. So, they're getting better at it at the end of the day. So you were able to turn some of those pressures into sacks. I think that's a positive thing. So grade Alabama against Wisconsin today. I got to give it at least, I think, an A- in this game. Maybe you could say that second half wasn't necessarily up to par, but I think Alabama did a really, really good job. So let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. Grade Alabama's performance against Wisconsin, A, B, C, D, or F, down at the pinned comment of today's video. My takeaway number 2, Ryan Williams is back. He had a phenomenal game today against Wisconsin, and really, he probably should have had a better game than what his final stat line ended up being here. He had 5 receptions for 165 yards in this game today. Should have had a 3rd touchdown, but unfortunately he ended up dropping that 3rd touchdown. But look, just overall, I thought Ryan Williams played really, really well. He didn't play in that week 2 game against Louisiana Monroe. And in that first game against Florida State, didn't necessarily have a good game against them either. I think he ended up having 3 drops in that game, and still in today's game had that drop for that touchdown pass. But just overall, I thought Ryan Williams looked like he had that confidence back. They got him, in the offense really, really early. They were feeding him early, and look, 5 catches for 165 yards is just absolutely insane. Yes, you could have wished that maybe he had that 3rd touchdown catch, but at the end of the day, Ryan Williams played a really, really good game here for Alabama, and I think just overall, this wide receiver group really did step up for the Crimson Tide today. We'll continue with some more takeaways here in just a second, but you guys can get this Alabama quarter zip today. It is on sale for 50% off. Just go to chatsports.com/BamaQTRZip. It was $90 on sale now for only $45. Look, it's kind of getting cold during the morning, and then kind of towards the evening, it gets a little bit warm. So, if you need something to go to work, if you need something to go to school, to class, whatever it is in the morning time, get this Alabama quarter zip today. It is on sale for only $45. It was $90, so it's 50% off. Just go to chatsports.com/BamaQTRZip. I'll put that link down in the description of today's show. It'll also be down at the pinned comment of today's show as well. And if it's available, there should be a little clickable link over there in the corner of your screen as well. Takeaway number 3, Ty Simpson has played absolutely phenomenal for Alabama over the last 2 games. Last week, he was 17 for 17. This week, you could argue maybe he played even a little bit better. He was 24 for 29 today. I don't know what that math is, but overall in the past 2 weeks, I think he's like 90% completion percentage, something like that. For 382 yards, should have had 5 touchdowns, but unfortunately Ryan Williams ended up dropping that one. I think the biggest thing about Ty Simpson, both last week and today, is he's playing confident. He's going out there and, he sees the guy. He's throwing him open. There's been multiple times, especially in this game today, where one of those touchdown passes, I think it might have been that last one of those ones to Isaiah Horton. He threw him open. I mean, the windows are so small, and Ty Simpson is fitting those passes into those windows. He's been extremely accurate over the past 2 weeks, and man, I mean, this might just be a run for the Heisman for Ty Simpson. Not necessarily saying that that's what it's going to end up being, but, instant reaction right now. I thought he played a phenomenal game. Should have had 5 touchdowns today, but still, 24 of 29, 382 yards. Ty Simpson played absolutely out of his mind today, and I could not be more proud. I think he is playing very, very confident now, and he is playing with some anticipation as well. So Ty Simpson, man, what a good game for him today against Wisconsin. So what is your one-word reaction to this win over Wisconsin? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section of today's show. My takeaway for this game, going with a lot of positives in this one, but this one's going to be a little bit of a negative. The run game did not necessarily look, really good for Alabama in this game today. Kevin Riley had 7 carries for only 20 yards, did not have a touchdown. Dre Washington had 2 carries for 13 yards. A.K. Deere had a couple carries at the end of today's game, 2 carries for only 9 yards for him. And then Richard Young didn't really, do anything else. He had 4 carries for only 3 yards in this game today. So just overall, Alabama's got to they've got to be more consistent running the football. I thought they tried to really, establish the run in this ball game today, but just early on, Wisconsin did a really good job on their, defensive line, plugging up the gaps. And the offensive line for Alabama didn't necessarily get a really good push. And when you're going against some of those teams like Georgia or Tennessee or Auburn or whoever it is down the rest of your schedule in the SEC, they've got to be better running the football. If there's only one negative, I think, to this game today, well, really, there's probably 2 negatives. I think the other one was having that penalty, and then, they end up, running that kick return back. Is probably the only second negative in this ball game today. But really, number 1, I didn't think the run game looked very good today. And, you could maybe say that they didn't necessarily give the ball to the running backs enough. 22 carries in total today, but Ty Simpson had 6 of those carries. So whatever that math ends up being there, 17 carries or something like that for your running backs today. They need to be better, especially when you're going up against some of those better teams in the SEC. My takeaway 5 for this game today, Bray Hubbard looked absolutely incredible. He had 2 interceptions in this ball game today, and I thought multiple times he came down, helped out a lot in the run game as well, had some tackles in this game. Let's see, ESPN saying he doesn't have any tackles, but that's just, simply not true. He had multiple tackles in this ball game today, had those 2 interceptions, especially one. I don't remember exactly if it was the first one or the second one, but he, Wisconsin was driving. I think it was in the second half of this ball game today. It was in the second half. They were driving down to like the, 18, 19-yard line of Alabama, something like that. And Bray Hubbard ends up, just getting back in coverage. They had him down there, kind of in that in the running back spot, in the, linebacker spot. And then he drops back more into coverage. It ended up, the quarterback just did not end up seeing him on either one of those. Danny O'Neal only had 1 touchdown for him today. He was 11 for 17 with 1 touchdown, 117 yards and 2 interceptions today. I thought the defense played really, really good. London Simmons was another player that had a really good day today by a true freshman. Latsier Brooks also got some more action in today's game as well. Just overall, a lot of positives for Alabama in this ball game today. I think another negative, if you could really call it a negative, Alabama was up 21-0 at the half, and then they only won the second half 17-14 in this game. I thought they could have done a better job finishing in this ball game today, but look, just overall, not a ton of negatives for Alabama today. For the most part, just a lot of really good things I thought you saw from this game today. You had some second string players that got a chance to play in this game today. So Alabama wins this one 38-14. You got a bye week next week. You can get healthy. We'll continue to see what exactly that LT Overton injury is. And then hopefully against Georgia, you can get Jam Miller back. You can get Tim Keenan back. Maybe even get Jamarian Latham and Danny Lewis Jr. back as well. But man, this game was just dominating today. Alabama did let off a little bit, I thought, in the second half. But overall, you win against a Big Ten team 38-14. Just a really good job by the Crimson Tide.